Good afternoon. We are cooking a linguine with a tomato sauce. Very, very simple. We'll just run through the ingredients. So we've got some dried pasta, some linguine. You could use spaghettini, anything that's a long sort of pasta, because we're going to absorb some of this sauce. Tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, tomato puree, garlic, rocket, and a little bit of salt. The equipment we are going to be using, we've got a pan of boiling water for our linguine, which we've already got going, frying pan, tongs, white chopping board, because we're not going to be chopping raw meat, so we're just going to be chopping our tomato and garlic onto that. Appropriate size knife for the job, teaspoon for our tomato puree. So, first of all, let's prepare our garlic. So we take our garlic, we'll take the outer off. Again, popping that over there. Again, when we're chopping our garlic, we want to chop it quite finely because we're going to be just cooking this. It won't be cooked for long. So nice, so just making sure our thumb's out the way when we get to that point. If you want to use a garlic crusher, garlic press, that's absolutely fine, of course, to do that as well. So we're just making sure we're keeping our thumb right behind the blade, back in, thumb is out the way. So we want to get it into relatively small pieces. We don't want anybody chopping into a big piece of garlic. So that's about right, but we don't want to lose it. We want to have a little bit of texture for our garlic. So that's our garlic already. Move on to our cherry tomatoes. Again, a little tip, if we're going to cut our cherry tomato, you find it a bit difficult, just make if you can see that there, just make a little incision in there. It's much easier to put your knife through onto one side. So if we try and do it without, sometimes it's a little bit trickier. So just put a little cut and then again. So nice, slow technique. We don't need to do this quickly. To one side. Once again. You can use plum tomatoes. The small plum tomatoes are really nice as well, got a really nice flavour. I think the Italians call them pomodoro, which are really good. So they're going to give a nice bit of juice, which is good. Of course, I've washed all the tomatoes prior to cooking, because we won't be peeling our tomatoes. Some recipes you sometimes need to peel a tomato, but not on this occasion. Popping those to one side. Lovely. So we're just keeping an eye on our linguine. I know that I've probably got about 5 minutes on my linguine. We want it to be al dente, so that's just to the touch of the tooth, literally in Italian. So it's not too soft, it's not too hard, it's just al dente, just right for us. So lovely. So we're just going to finish off our tomatoes. Remember our ingredients. We had garlic, tomato puree, rocket leaves, some very, very nice extra virgin olive oil. Try and get the best that you can, but olive oil is far superior to cooking with a sunflower or vegetable rapeseed oil. Okay, so I'm going to put some olive oil into a pan. Now our technique here is that we are going to actually not put any heat onto our pan before we put the garlic in. So I'm just going to pop the garlic in, so because we don't want to burn that garlic, because it will be carbonised and that really won't be a nice flavour for us, because it's a very delicate flavour that we've got here with our tomatoes. So we're just going to pop that in and we'll put the heat on that in a moment. Let's just check our linguine. Okay, that's looking good. So yeah, we've probably got about another 3 or 4 minutes on our linguine. It doesn't want to be, as I say, overcooked, just about right. So running through our ingredients again, some really nice olive oil, chopped garlic, cherry tomatoes just halved using the claw method, some tomato puree which we'll be adding slightly later, and then right at the end we're going to put those lovely rocket leaves in. So we are nearly ready to start cooking our garlic. So we're just going to put under a medium heat with our garlic ready to go. Just to check we've got the right flame. That's a little bit high. I'll pop that right down, and then we're going to move our garlic around the pan. So we're probably using about a tablespoon, just slightly under, of olive oil, which is perfect. That's looking good. So that's just going to take on a little bit of heat. Once that takes on some heat, we'll add our cherry tomatoes and our tomato puree. So just going to go and check our linguine, which we will be draining fairly shortly. So we can leave that. The tip with knowing when your water is ready to cook with on pasta, you should have bubbles which are just slightly smaller than a lemonade bubble. So then you'll know that you're ready to cook with that. Right, I can see that we're ready for our cherry tomatoes. So taking the cherry tomatoes, when we're putting anything into oil, we don't want to throw things in, we just want to place things into our pan. So we don't throw things in because we don't want to splash oil over the place. Obviously it's warm, it can be dangerous. That's lovely. Then we're just going to move those around the pan when we are done. Lovely, that's looking good. So I'm just going to, that's perfect. We'll be introducing just a little bit of tomato puree very shortly. The pasta's nearly ready. That's fantastic. So we'll just give that a little bit of work there. We can just add our tomato puree. Again, just probably half a teaspoon. We'll see how that goes. If we want to add some water to that, a really easy way of doing things is just taking some water from our pasta. I think I might just put a little bit in there. That's really simple, just to keep my sauce. There we go. So I'm just going to give that a little stir around. Take the heat off that, because that's a little bit hot now. And that really is not long to go now. Beautiful. That's looking good. Just incorporate that tomato puree in there. Just keep that moving around. My linguine looks like that's going to be ready, so I'm going to turn that down because that's just where I want that to be. Just checking. Yeah, just a simmer. So I'm going to just take my linguine off the heat. And I'm going to drain my linguine over here, which is lovely, making sure that we keep our hands out of the way so that we don't get a steam burn. Back onto there, back on. I'm just going to pop in, that's right, that's looking good, we're nearly there. Just going to put, you can see the richness of the olive oil taking on that slightly golden colour. Now my garlic is looking good. I don't want raw garlic, but I don't want it burnt, so that's just about right. My linguine can sit there for a minute or two. I'm just going to add the rocket leaves. So these will just wilt very quickly. Lovely. Just introduce those into the sauce. And now the classic Italian way of doing things is to add pasta to the sauce and not the other way around. There's our pasta that's cooked. Just drain that. If a little bit of water goes in, it's not a problem because it's a sauce, so that's fine. There we go. Those last bits in. Absolutely lovely. I'll just give that a little stir around. Take it all the way around just to incorporate the rocket. And then we are almost ready to plate that up. So there we are. We have got linguine with a tomato sauce served with rocket and love. So pop that in there. Lovely, lovely. Just rocket there, which is wilted just right, not too. Rocket, I suppose you could substitute with spinach if you wanted to. If you like that, you could add a little bit. You can add some oregano should you want to put a few herbs in. Parsley on the top should you really want to. So, there we have linguine with tomato pasta. Thank you very much.